Welcome to another beginner's guide for the Division 2 in 2026. This one we are going to be covering the expertise system and everything that you need to know. If you are new or returning to the game, hoping to cover any questions that you have, but feel free to ask any down below in the comments if you are still unsure on anything after watching this video. And if you do need to know anything else about the game, I'm aiming to have a good beginner's guide playlist that's linked in the description as well, and you can check it out for all sorts of other questions about different systems and whatnot. So let's get straight into it. Now, expertise. When we bring up our character menu, just go to where your build is, and from here on keyboard and mouse on PC, I'm pressing M to enter the tinkering station. You can also find this by going to the tinkering station in a safe place like the base of operations and stuff. But this you can get here directly, and you're going to have a sub menu here called expertise. I'm going to remove my cam at this point so you can see the whole screen as I'm talking you through this. So expertise. When you go into expertise, you've got all of these different tabs for weapons, named and exotic. You've got skills, you've got brands, and you've got gear sets as we go further down. And the aim of expertise is to make every single one of these tabs and everything within it proficient. And if you look on the left side where we've got the expertise level, we can see that there's 459 items currently in the game at the time of making this video. But every single season, they're going to add more items to this, and this keeps on going up. Now, judge on the amount of items that you have made proficient, you will keep on gaining expertise level. As you reach a certain amount of items proficient, you'll reach level 30, which is the expertise cap. You can't go higher than level 30, but that is your aim, and we're going to explain why in a few moments. But you'll get it before you reach 459. The cap was introduced a while back, and the cap, once the cap got introduced, we've still got more items after that's being added to the game. So as you can see, I'm currently 454 out of 459, yet I've reached the cap. So at this point, it's not that important to make items proficient to get any more of the expertise level, as I've reached the cap. However, you will want to make any items proficient that you want to make stronger, because the whole reason of this system and making them proficient is when you go to a build, you are able to upgrade them. So the St. Elmo's here, you can see it's got an expertise level of 30 on it, and that is only going to be able to go up to whatever your expertise level is, which we just discussed. So if you're only expertise level 10, then you're only going to be able to upgrade a proficient item to 10. So that's kind of capped on the weapon or the piece of gear to what your expertise level is, which is why you want to get to 30 as quick as possible, really, so you're not held back from upgrading your guns or your gear. You'll be able to upgrade all of this to the expertise level 30 as well. So with guns, when you expertise them and you invest into them, you will get extra weapon damage. And then with gear, I haven't got any leveled into at the minute, but if you were to level up a piece of gear, you're going to get bonus armor. I don't really find that important. It costs a lot of resources right now, hence why I only really do my guns. So essentially, that is what the system is. You are making things proficient. Once they're proficient, you're able to then upgrade them based on what your expertise level is, and your expertise level is going to reach a cap of 30 based on the amount of items that you make proficient. Now, let's carry on going, because there's still a lot more to it, a lot of advice I can give you to get this done much quicker. So let's head back to the expertise menu, and let's start taking a look at some of these items. It is important to know how this currently stands. If we were going to assault rifles, for example, here's going to show all the assault rifles that you're able to make proficient, and you can see they've all got proficient on them because I've already got them to their highest proficiency level. But if we go over to the St. Elmo's, when you've made it proficient and you want to upgrade it, you come here, you go into it, and it's going to show you any St. Elmo's that you have. When you start upgrading the St. Elmo's, it's only going to be for that particular one. If you have two of them that you use for whatever reason, you're going to have to upgrade two of them. Now, hopefully in the future, this is not the case, because I think this is... Personally, I think this should just be something that once you've got St. Elmo's 30, doesn't matter what St. Elmo's you ever get, it's always going to be like that. But right now, how it stands is if I had multiple of them, I'm only expertise in one, I'd have to expertise another if I wanted to. And how people are with builds, especially when it comes to like high-end weapons and stuff like that, you might have two different high-end weapons with different talents and attributes on. You'd have to expertise both of them separate because how the system works. I'll show you what an item looks like as well that isn't max proficiency. So if we head over to the LMGs here, I've still got one LMG that I haven't made proficient. So when you come here, you can see the gear shift here. This is what it looks like when you need to make it proficient. It has levels up to 10 and it'll start at 0. As you use the weapon, as it's on your build and character while you're playing, this will slowly go up with enemy kills that happen. Basically, from you or your teammates, this will start going up, and the more you use it, the more it's on your build, you eventually reach 10. That's one way of getting things up, but what you can also do is you can, from this menu, click research, and you can donate materials, and you can just do it through materials. A great material to use here is printer filament. So I can just donate this resource, and look at that, it's going up just by using resources. So this is another way that you can make things proficient. Now you can donate all materials and it will just use materials across the board. But I highly recommend that if you are going to go for like material upgrades, that you use the printer filament. It's the cheapest one to use to get them upgraded, and it's one of the best ones then to recover to spend some more. So I've just used printer filament on this item to make it all the way to level 10. You can see that the gear shift is now proficient, and it's just like that. Now if I have a gear shift, I could just back out of this. I could go in, I'd find a gear shift here, and I would be able to then upgrade it, which again costs more materials. So I'll show you what that looks like. So if we go to a striker piece, which is currently on me, which I've not made proficient yet. We just need to find striker somewhere in this menu. Yes, there we go. So we've got striker battle gear there. And you can see all of my striker pieces now that I've got on me. We've got gloves, 2 pairs of gloves, 2 chests, and you can see what I mean now. By upgrading them, I can only upgrade one. If I wanted to upgrade both pairs of gloves, I'd have to do them both separately, and it's treated as 2 different items. So on this blue striker build, what I'm going to do is start upgrading these striker gloves. These are part of my blue striker build, and you can see down here it's got an upgrade cost. Now I can only upgrade this because I've already made striker's battle gear proficient. If I hadn't have made it proficient, I'd have had to do what I just told you by investing resources or just using the gear piece to go through the levels to make it proficient. But because it's proficient, I can upgrade it, and I'm only going to be able to upgrade it to my maximum expertise level, like I've already explained. So I was going to hold upgrade now, and it's going to use these materials down here. That's my upgrade cost to give it 1 level. And once I've done that, these gloves are going to be expertise level 1, and I can just keep on going. So I can make it to level 2, and then level 3, and level 4, and so on. Top tip here, if you're on PC, just click the upgrade button. It saves the double charge. If you hold space, it charges it once to like hold space, and charges it again to do the upgrade. If you click it, it's just 1 charge, and it's a lot quicker. In the future, I believe they are looking at adding a upgrade to max button that'll just use all of the resources needed to get it to max level right away, so you only have to do this the once. Now, as it currently stands, I'm going to keep on going here because there's a lot of changes coming to the game very soon, where the cost of upgrading and things are going to be lower. You'll notice now I am level 13. Just the one prior to this, it started to use exotic components. At the time of making this video, the amount of exotic components it took to fully upgrade an item was 90. So I currently need 1 exotic component. I'll use that. It'll take it to level 14, and the next one's 2 exotic components, and it keeps on going up like this now until we're all the way to level 30. And this can get very expensive, but this is the end game of the Division 2, remember. So this is like your last thing to sort of do on the game, and then once you've got everything proficient and everything maxed out, you're then at your top power. But there are changes coming to the game where the end game is changing. We'll discuss that in other videos for sure, but when they do that, this is going to get cheaper, and hopefully it won't be this amount of exotic components you've got to use by the time you're watching this video, and it'll be a lot cheaper. So bear that in mind. It might be different when you're doing this, but essentially that is what the expertise system is. If I was to go and put all level 30 on all of my gear pieces, I'm going to gain a big buff in armor. You can see I'm currently at 14% extra armor on that piece there. And if I put out weapons, I'm gaining up to 30% extra weapon damage. So all of this is quite expensive. It's a big grind as well. Are there any tips to go through this grind of expertise and get to level 30 very quickly. And then once I've done that, what tips do I have to farm resources to then upgrade the items? Well, that's what we're going to cover now. We're going to start with making everything proficient and getting to level 30 expertise in the first place. Now, obviously, I'm going to discuss about donating resources first because we've already spoke about that. Printer filament is a great way to go into any of these and just donate printer filament to get them maxed out. And then once you run out of printer filament, there's multiple ways you can farm this. You can destroy mods to get printer filament, but you can also come back here to your character build screen, click on your watch, and if you have any scavenging points, you can reinvest into your printer filament here and just spend the scavenging points to build them back up. Now, this is one of the better ways to go about this as you get towards the end of your level 30 expertise grind. This is what I'd be doing. I'd also be focusing this on anything that I really didn't want to use, like maybe some exotics you don't want to use and things like that. It's a great way to get them up, and if you do have a ton of watch levels, it's a quick way of doing it without having to do any grind at all. However, if you are a newer player, you might not have a ton of watch levels. Now, the reason that a lot of people can get a ton of watch levels is because they go over watch level 1000, they get to a high level, and every watch level after 1000 is going to go into scavenging. So people that farm that, especially during times 5 XP events and things like that, you can bulk up a big amount of scavenging points. So make sure you're taking advantage of any times 3 event, times 5 event when it comes to XP, and you're building watch levels up as fast as you can so you've got plenty to reinvest into expertise when you need it. That is one good way to max out some items very fast. It's not the only way to do it though. You can wear these items, and I want to show you some things to focus on as a newer player where you don't really have the watch levels to reinvest into printer filament. First, we'll discuss named items. So with named items and even some guns as well and things like that, I highly recommend every Tuesday on the reset that you just go around the vendors. And if you do have a lot of cash on you, you can go through the vendors, and if there's anything in here that you just want to get max expertise, you can just purchase loads of them and then put them as junk and donate them into the expertise menu. I'm going to show you how to do that now, but you could buy proxies right now. You could buy the PP19, Police M4, Disarus, whatever's selling at the vendor there in form of gear sets or weapons. You can purchase a load of these and then you can donate them as junk into expertise. You can check any vendor in the game to do that. So if you do have a lot of cash, kind of like infinite cash, that's something else you can do. And by donating junk, what you do is just go into the expertise menu and you will notice a donate all button. So there you go, donate all junk at the bottom there. So any items that you have marked as junk on your character, so whenever you're farming, if you pick stuff up as junk, or if you buy items from a vendor and mark it as junk, you can donate it as junk, and that'll also give you small increments towards any of your proficiencies. So if you were to buy a named item or something, say the Night Watcher was on sale at a vendor and you bought, I don't know how many it takes of these, it might be 10, it could be 20, I'm not so sure. But if you buy some of these from a vendor, mark them all as junk and then donate them as junk here, that is going to build up the proficiency on that for you. So that's another thing that you can do. You can look at vendors, you can buy items if you've got a lot of resource or cash available, mark them as junk and donate them. And also while you're just doing casual farming and you're picking up items as junk and donating them here is another great way. However, for other things like skills, brands, but definitely mainly gear sets, these are the easiest things to level up fast. And you want to use these to level up fast so you can at least get a higher level quicker, so you can start upgrading whenever you want, right? You can upgrade items up to your expertise cap, so even if you get to 15, 16, something like that, you can start upgrading your pieces and getting more powerful. So these will be a great focus if you focus on these first, because you're going to gain a lot of level quick. Because what you can do is, especially with gear sets, if we have a look at a build and if we think Striker, for example, what you could do is go into one countdown session, farm Striker, and get a piece of Striker in every single slot. If you have that, when you are earning XP while you're playing, again, countdown's a great way to do this because it doesn't really matter about your building countdown. Most of the time, you can just let the team carry it, just go in, get out. You're going to be getting XP towards your proficiency, and it will spread the proficiency across all 6 pieces, which means just after a couple of runs of countdown, you could probably max out your proficiency in Striker. You could then do that with another gear set, throw 6 pieces on, and do the same again. And you can do this over and over, and what you'll find is if you keep on doing that, you are going to max out the proficiency on your gear sets very, very quickly. Okay, you'll get these done very, very quickly, and these will give you some good expertise level. So I certainly wouldn't waste any resources or money at vendors on stuff like gear sets because of how easy it is to do. And it's the same with brand sets. You could do exactly the same with brand sets. So you've there's got to be some here, maybe even in your gear sets as well. Sorry, things like system corruption isn't going to be the easiest one to do because that's DZ only. But for the most part, as long as you can select targeted loot on countdown, all of this is easy. And the same goes with brand sets. Jarl again is DZ only for Jarl, so you might want to invest resources to get that one done. But for every other brand set, you're able to go to countdown, you're able to farm it, and you could throw 6 Cheska pieces on, 6 Providence pieces on, and so on, and just keep on playing like that until you've got all of them proficient. And once you've got all of your brand sets proficient and all your gear sets proficient, you'll have a good chunk of level done, and you'll only be left with the ones that are a little bit more trickier, like system corruption or Jarl, which you can invest in. Now, while you're doing that, you can multi-farm, because we still haven't talked about skill specializations or weapons. While you're doing that, throw any 2 skills on and just keep them on until they're proficient. Once they're proficient, move on to 2 other skills, keep them on until they're proficient, and so on. Just keep on doing that. And while you're doing that, you're going to be knocking off skills, while you're knocking off your brands, and while you're knocking off your gear sets. And then as for weapons and named or anything exotic wise as well, what you can also do while you're doing this farm is you could throw 2 of the same weapon on, like as long as it's not an exotic. But say you wanted to upgrade 2 of these lefties, if you have 2 lefties, select one in the primary, select one in the secondary. That's going to double up on the proficiency while you're doing this farm. You can select whatever sidearm you want to get proficient as well while you're doing this. And if there is an exotic, you can place an exotic in, you can place an exotic here. And as you can see, as you keep on doing this, and if you use, again, I'm using countdown as a prime example, it's the most casual content there is. You can pretty much start a countdown session and get through it without shooting an enemy if you want to. Everybody's tunnel visioned on the extraction, getting the loot and getting out. You can mix this in with material farming. You can target loot other things that you might want to get on your proficiency. So again, you could go to expertise, you could have a look at where you're doing well, where you're not doing well. Maybe it's sidearms that you're not doing well with. You could target loot sidearms, and you could set it all as junk and then donate it at the end. You can invest so much into getting these proficient fast by doing this method that you will start to gain levels very, very quickly. And then while you're doing that, you can also spend printer filaments and donate resources where you think it's tricky, and use watch levels that you're earning to then refill the printer filament and then go again. While you're doing all this, don't forget about specializations. Just have a specialization on at all times and then switch between them as they each get proficient to get them done. And the grind doesn't become so bad if you are focusing on it in this way. Not only this, another great thing to keep an eye on, especially while you're going through seasons. If you go to the seasonal event menu, we're currently on the anniversary season, but every seasonal event has a timeline. And when you go through the timeline, they sometimes give you some surges that really help. So have a look at things that might be coming up. Right now, at the time of recording, we are about to go into an expertise surge. And for this event, if we just toggle the event details, what this does is now is the best time to advance your expertise with double upgrade materials, drop quantity from all sources available throughout the event. Now, this one doesn't help the proficiency. There are some that helps the proficiency. What this one helps is the upgrade materials, that when an item is proficient and you're upgrading it, those materials there that you use are going to have double drops when you gain them. So things like exotic components during this event are going to be a great thing to farm, because exotic components will be doubled when you farm them. So keep an eye out for seasonal things like that. And like I mentioned before as well, of the watch level, if you do want to use resources as well, don't ever miss out on like ×5 XP events and things like that as well, because these are going to give you a ton of watch levels that also allow you to invest more into your resources to then spend resources on expertise. And that is pretty much everything you need to know about expertise and no more. You can go about this any rate you want to, and I'd say it's more important now than ever with the changes to come to the Division 2, because at the time of making this video, we've got a season coming where they're introducing prototype gear, and one of the ways to upgrade your gear to prototype gear is going to be max expertise and having your builds at max expertise. So it's going to become very important to start getting to level 30 max expertise yourself and then leveling up your weapons and your gear pieces to level 30, because once you've done that, you're going to be able to then upgrade these items to prototype gear, assuming that system still comes very soon, which has been announced recently. So it's more important than ever. And if I'm going to give some tips finally at the end, because once you get to level 30 expertise, it is then the materials to upgrade. It is very expensive right now. It has been said that they are reducing the cost to upgrade though, but still, even when they do, your primary focus is really going to be, I'm going to say, on two main things, and we can see that by going back into the expertise menu and just looking at those striker gloves that we looked at earlier, because there's two resources that it uses a lot of. And if we have a look at the striker gloves, it's these down here. You've got this flag, you've got, oh, these three, this flag, these projects, and exotic components. The exotic components are the hardest farm because you can't just craft them. The only way to get exotic components is from completing some projects, dismantling exotics, and things like that. They don't really come that good. Sometimes they're rewarded in things as well. But as for this flag icon and the project icon, I forget the official names, you can just use materials to make these. There's also activities you do to get them as well, and they also drop in some rewards. But if you come to the crafting station and go to optimization, there they are, the field recon data and the shade calibration. These can be crafted for some common resources there: steel, polycarbonate, ceramics, and electronics, carbon fiber, titanium. So when you craft these here, you can do that if you want to, if you need more of them. And all of these materials that I just mentioned that you need to craft them can then be backfilled again through watch levels if you want to. But exotic components are the hardest thing, and you're gonna need a lot of them. Right now, some of the fastest ways to grind exotic components, I would say Countdown is a nice relaxing way to do it, because you can keep on playing Countdown, and if you're playing on challenging, you're roughly getting pretty much just under an exotic component every time you do it. And what you can also do on Countdown is, if we go over to the targeted loot, we can target loot where exotics can drop. So if you're targeting loot and you're trying to get some exotic components, I was trying to get the targeted loot back up, it didn't work then. There we go. You can target things like pistols, submachine guns, assault rifles. There's a chance exotics will drop them while you're searching. Just don't pick things like brand sets or gear sets, as they have no exotics attached to them. But weapons, masks, gloves, anything like that, there's a chance of exotics dropping. So you can keep on playing Countdown for a chance of an exotic to drop, but then you're awarded dog tags at the end, and those dog tags, they'll build up. You can eventually come to the Countdown vendor here, and at the Countdown vendor you can purchase exotic caches. So as you're building your Countdown currency up, don't forget to come and buy exotic caches. Again, these will dismantle down into exotic components. And it's the same when you're doing like global events throughout the season as well. You'll earn global event stars. You then have a global event vendor, and at the global event vendor, when you earn stars during global events, there's more exotic caches you can exchange them for some more exotic components. You can see from the project screen here, a great weekly project to do is the weekly shade requisition. This is always going to give you an exotic cache. There's some dailies and weeklies as well that are going to reward exotic components and things, so do keep an eye out here for extra rewards. There's like 3 exotic components there. There's other things they do during events during the season as well, where you're going to be given exotic components. So anything you see exotic component, you're going to want to farm. And I'd probably say one of the ultimate ways of doing it is retaliation. It's a little bit more tougher than, say, countdown, but you can do retaliation. You can get some retaliation going, and retaliation also has targeted loot, so you can do the same with countdown in the hope that some drops happen while you're playing. But also, every retaliation completion will give you an exotic cache, and I don't think it matters what difficulty is on. So that's another guaranteed exotic component every single time you do it. And then finally, if you want to farm and you just want to like mix up your grind, you can go into priority objectives from the seasonal menu, and you can pick activities that will give you exotic components. Sometimes the activities can just be a 2-minute task as well. This is another great way to get them. Right now, I'm on complete 3 floors of the summit. I don't like that one, so I can abandon it. But you can then look at some more rewards. So we got another exotic item reward there for an activity. I can decrypt that, and this activity is complete 2 countdown objectives. Absolutely perfect. Go into countdown, farm for exotic components anyway. You're guaranteed an extra one through the objective. So it's worth doing priority objectives as well. Sometimes I land on missions and strongholds and stuff, but it breaks up the grind, it keeps it fresh, and that's another way of doing it. Whether they add other ways of grinding exotic components in the future with all the changes that are coming, I don't know. But that is going to be your biggest farm for while you're upgrading your pieces. You're going to need a ton of them. So good luck with that. But with those exotic components and with getting everything proficient, you're going to be able to have level 30 builds on your weapons and your gear. It'll be giving you extra armor, extra weapon damage, and then once prototype gear arrives, you'll be ready to upgrade the pieces to prototype builds. But that is it for the video. That is expertise. I hope I've explained everything. I don't think I missed anything there. I just want to give a huge shout out to Oli Mega, who dropped in a chat with me before and explained how he did it very fast. All of that stuff about wearing the gear sets and putting 6 pieces on, it all come from him, and he said he got it up very quickly for just playing countdown doing that, and he told me to suggest to you guys just to go ahead and do that. It's the cheapest way to do it. You can mix it in with spending resources while you're doing it if you want to, and he doesn't think right now it takes too long to get to level 30 if you really do focus on it that way. So I hope it's been helpful. Again, ask any questions in the comments if you've got any. I'll answer them. I'll keep an eye on them, and I do have more beginner guides right now. We're refreshing everything on the Division 2. What I aim to do going forward is to keep everything up to date and refreshed, all within a playlist within the Discord as well. So hopefully the idea is to have any answers to your questions in the form of a video within that playlist in this style. So again, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more content. Until the next one, take care.